So I thought today might be an opportune time to do a spontaneous channel in an environment like this, like my office. So when I channel, sometimes it's intentionally with the knowledge that I want a specific thing to learn, and sometimes I know exactly who I want to talk to. I want to talk to this guide or deity or whomever, it depending on the tonality I'm looking for. Certainly, sometimes if I'm looking for a very quick and to the point answer, I will ask for some of my more philosophical guides. Whereas if I want sweet, loving tenderness, I always ask for guidance from Jesus, because he's, let's be honest, he's known for just being the coolest, and he is just full of unconditional love. So sometimes you want a little snuggly parable, and other times you're like, tell me how it is. Oftentimes I'll ask for whoever's at the vibration of what I need to learn. So I'm actually going to ask about something specific that I could guide people on, from concepts relating to change. So it's the end of the summer, and a lot of people are returning to school, either personally or their children are going to school, and the seasons are about to change. I know the harvest is almost upon us. I know that my zucchini is starting to slow down, shockingly, but the tomatoes are which is amazing. But I have been a single mom for 18 years, and my daughter is leaving the state, and she's leaving my home, and a very Lorelai Rory situation. And so we're in the middle of packing her up right now. How do you pack up an entire life of the things you can fit into a dorm room? And we're doing that now, and we leave in 2 days. And so, right, that's crazy. 2.5 days. So I thought I would actually channel around change, and whomever feels that would be their preferred topic. So since I usually channel when I'm driving, don't typically channel while I'm sitting, but motion is helpful typically. So I'm going to just connect really quickly. So everything in all creation is cycles and moves and goes through an expression and experience of creation and destruction repeatedly in small and large ways through organisms, cells, bodies, animals, plants. Everything goes through a state of being in which it is becoming to where it becomes, and then when it becomes, it starts its stage of disintegration, and when the disintegration has completed, that is when the death cycle brings upon kind of a renourishment into the earth, and then into a new state of creation and evolution and reinvention. That evolution and reinvention is expressed in ways that are re-embodying through soul sparks, and those get expressed through reincarnation in all living beings that create soul spark from source energy. That source energy is from the singularity, from the eternal oneness, the singularity, the burst of life forth from the one, the all, the everything, that which cannot be contained by a singular name is in fact known as the all, because the all itself cannot be contained, for it is all. The all continues to express itself through the law of mentalism, where nothing can be subtracted from the all, because it is all, will continue to expand upon itself in and as our microcosms in our imagination and eternal thought. continue out eternally. There is no end to that thought creation within our minds. We are never limited in our minds from creating anything through financial limitation or resources or talents. Our minds are able to create universes with or without the logic tending to it. We may at times argue with ourselves that these are not possibilities because of A, B, and C, but those possibilities are the thought patterns unbalanced within the heart space of creation and creativity that prevent us from being able to create within the microcosm of the all that we all are as creators of our own universes, plural. From this, as we are not limited, nor the all being limited, as we are microcosms of the all, we must acknowledge, embrace, and seek that eternal state of change. The thing that limits humans from experience of change are fears of the unknown, and fears of the unknown often come with concepts relating to suffering or dis-ease or discomfort or disillusion of the self, lacking control. When in fact, while we are not in control of our circumstances surrounding us, we are able to contribute to the vibrational states in which we are surrounded. Our vibration, when our vibration is at a state of fear, it creates codes and shapes through energies that emit from our heart space out into the world in the toral field, inviting similar concepts of fear into our field as magnets. So our fear, in fact, creates situations to reinforce fear as being a viable outcome. People are not aware of this aspect they have within themselves, noting that they are always processing through potential fearful outcomes. When those outcomes then happen, they say, see, we said it was going to happen this way. Everything always, quote, goes wrong for me, end quote. However, they are not seeing their part to play in that their energy focused and wasted upon the fear vibration has in fact drawn the fear vibration into their field. Instead, if one in the states of change emits a vibratory frequency instead of hope, exhilaration, creation, and joy, wonder, happiness, playfulness, those will be the vibrations that are drawn into the person and brought back into their field as experiences. Those experiences are in the third dimension, expressions of the eternal all that is the law of mentalism within our minds. That is why manifestation is flawless in its application when coming of true heart and true intent and full belief. As with our imagination, we are unlimited by materials, finances, time. We can create buildings, bridges, cities, galaxies in a singular moment. When we are able to vibrate at a field of full creation space, which is unconditional love, when we vibrate at this space, we are able to then create things very quickly, in which case those changes then become welcome when we seek to have new experiences, knowing that they are going to be positive, knowing they're going to invite joy and happiness into our frequencies. We are no longer fearful of the change, but we welcome it with open arms, knowing that all will be well, because in fact there is no disillusion of self. It is an eternally cycling motion, just as everything surrounding us. In fact, to ignore those cycles and to live just simply in buildings attached to devices that are constantly emitting frequencies of spiritless vibrations we then become disconnected from our cycles internally, with our bodies fearing changes in our everyday experience around mood, around physicality, around interpersonal relationships, around even our appetites and what we wish to eat. We become methodical, thinking that all changes are signs of pathology, when in fact it is not pathology, it is a natural cycle one is experiencing within their current emotional and hormonal balance that is recalibrating to the vibrations in the circumstance and environment with which you find yourself, with all other people, all other environments, all other micro variables that are taken into account as our body and minds process and create homeostasis as constantly moving and running organisms adjusting to new experiences. People are unaware of how much they are changing every moment, every second, every inhale, every exhale. There is innumerable changes that are happening in each of those moments with which you do survive and continue to thrive. The fear of the unknown, the fear of the disillusion of self, the fear of disintegration, the fear of loss of control is in fact completely irrational in the knowledge that all things are constantly changing in ways that you cannot conceive. Instead, looking around you in nature for confirmation of those cycles, that from all death comes new rebirth, from fire comes lush, vibrant regrowth, so is true as a mirror, as above, so below, so within, so without. Within ourselves, we can see that good things are coming even if things have disintegrated. We are able to invite new and exciting things into our life, knowing it is coming around the bend. There is no stopping it. It will come. It is your vibrational frequency which then becomes the dependent state in which we invite that thing into our field. If we do emit fear, that thing that is coming back into our field will be filled with fear and match that frequency instead of the hope and joy and playfulness that we are instead inviting. That then brings new creation. The new creation is the rebirth of all creation, all things, all living things, all things that emit from a spark of life, which is all things. From the all, from the singularity, it is continuing to fold upon itself and expand into infinity. Infinity. There is no stopping creation within ourselves and without of ourselves. It is important to acknowledge that we cannot control someone else's expression of self and infinity in their creation within their minds as extensions of the all, as the singularity. They too are a microcosm of the singularity, expressing itself into eternity. We cannot control another's. They cannot control ours. Any confusion surrounding this, that we must be laced to and connected to another in their creation to be the same as our creation, is in fact irrational. We are all microcosms of the all. Being such, submitting our power to any other that is not equitable is in fact surrendering the innate deification of one's individual capacity to create and express eternally. So in fact, change is not only welcomed and inevitable, but is controlled entirely by the maker in the vibration that they are currently living to create more of that. Anyone interrupting that expression of self and creation into an expression of that self through a mirror image then becomes an interrupted tension in the growth of the other. This can be used to polish, this can be used to disintegrate. At each moment you have a choice to grow and create or disintegrate according to the vibration frequency with which you are emitting and which you invite. Pay close attention to the vibrational quality you invite into your field by others, because those are the ones you will get more of. Likewise, if you invite into your frequency those that emit a frequency that is of love, unconditional kindness, acceptance, honoring, creation, they then will amplify your creation of these things in your field. Do know that all change is in your control to be joyful creation or devastation. That's all. What you've just experienced is a plugging in, a download of information that is pretty significant. A lot of the words that were used were in alignment with universal knowledge through the Kabbalion and Hermetic texts. So some of that language may have been new. And if it was new, and I'm sure there's very many questions around what the frick was that, but that's kind of like what a download looks like. And I think we can all agree that that's not something that came from my own mind. and there's really nothing about it that is arguable. I mean, a person could argue that there are different names for things, and that gets all in the language, but I mean, I agree with all of that. Some people, when they channel and they trance out, they don't remember entirely what they were saying, and I typically miss some of what I say, and I'll go back and watch or read, and I'll be like, oh damn, that was kind of cool, and I like make a note of it or something. But I don't typically record myself on video channeling, so that's kind of a new fun experience for me. However, just as a therapist, I can be like, yeah, that all tracks, as far as like, I've seen people be so anxious that they go into something with like absolute fear, and then bad things happen. They're like, see, I told you so. And it's almost like when you expect it, it's going to meet your expectations. But I think this is great. I think this is great because, you know, my daughter's going to school. It's a really good talking to from the other realms. The tonality of it came from a collective for sure. It's a collective I talk to quite a bit. That language and the cadence is from a certain collective of consciousness that I talk to on occasion, and so that was pretty cool. I'll definitely share it with my daughter, and hopefully it will help someone else in transition. So there you go.